Hey there! On today's episode, I'm going to be going over my top 10 wish list for the villains in the upcoming game Marvel Crisis Protocol. My name is Nate, and welcome to the Gamers Guild. As with most top 10 lists, I'm going to start my way at the bottom and work my way up. Starting out with a Sentinel. Very singular Sentinel because I don't think MCP is in a spot where we need to have the mass henchman style gameplay going on. I wouldn't mind seeing an expansion that really compounds upon that down the line, maybe a couple years out, but for the get-go, I really want to be able to see the big bads and the big heroes being able to go at each other rather than having SHIELD agents and Hydra soldiers or AIM or whomever out on the battlefield fighting it out. That being said, I think a singular Sentinel would be a fantastic addition to the game. They're big, would make for a great boss-style enemy in the raid modes, all that kind of stuff. Not to mention, just I'd love to get the chance to paint something that big and iconic. Coming in at number 9, I have the Leader and the Mandarin. Two characters that are better known for their minds and strategic planning rather than their brute force. I think that the development team would have a fantastic time designing characters who are still very formidable, but not necessarily in the traditional sense. The Leader, fantastic brain power, and the Mandarin with his non-traditional style of combat through the 10 rings. I'd love to see a more comic version rather than the movie version, which was just a guy with fire. But anyway, those are my picks for number 9. Coming in at the number 8 spot, I have Titania and the Absorbing Man. Really, the main motivation for these two making my list is so that we can see a Masters of Evil affiliation entered into the game, and maybe get an updated Zemo card so that he can be the leader as he was in the comics. But also, I feel like Titania being able to rival up against the stronger characters, really a ground-pounding kind of person, and maybe hopefully see She-Hulk with the Defenders or something. But also Absorbing Man could be very fun and interesting to see how he interacts with either the environment that you're playing on or the opposing team's heroes, or maybe even your own teams. Coming in at number 7, I have Taskmaster. There's a few reasons he makes this list at all, but mostly I would love to see the design space, but also he's just a really cool character, the sword, the shield, and especially with his updated look that we've seen from the new Spider-Man game, as well as the Avengers game coming out next year. No matter what version they decide to put into the game, though, the thing that excites me the most is his muscle memory ability that he has. I would love to see a react ability where he's able to instantly copy an enemy's attack, or maybe even a team tactic card where he doubles up on an attack that another teammate just did. Either way, I think he would be a ton of fun in the design space. Coming in at number 6, I have some space villains. The main ones I would love to see are Super Skrull and Ronin, although I wouldn't mind Gladiator either. Any of these three would be fantastic, but I find most likely we'd probably get Super Skrull and Ronin, especially since they're the most prevalent in the MCU right now. However, that being said, these two are a little bit rivals in the comics and such, but I think that they would be superb powerhouses on the table. Coming in at number 5, I have a couple of Asgardian villains, the Enchantress and the Executioner. While I think that Malekith or Destroyer would be great as well, as far as the duo pack, these two really bring it home. They play off of each other really well. I'd love to see some team tactic cards between the two of them, especially with the Executioner being a big, strong, up front, punching things in the face, while the Enchantress is a little bit more of a glass cannon, but also provides more mystic attacks, which is something we haven't seen a lot of in the game yet. I have to admit, coming in at number 4, should have been coming in at number 6, the Sinister Six. I think that any of the iconic members of this squad would be greatly represented here, but the two that I'm choosing are Electro and Vulture, mostly because they pop up in just about every incarnation of the team. I would love to see some special abilities happen if you have exactly 6 team members from the Sinister Six, and all sorts of other fun things that they could do with that. Also, though, Electro and Vulture would add some fantastic long-range characters, as in movement-wise, that are acting as glass cannons, where we have a lot of heavy hitters that are a little bit in that medium range. I'd really love to see some faster characters, and these two fit the bill pretty nicely. Coming in at the number 3 spot for me, I have Carnage. There are plenty of different reasons I'd love to see Carnage in the game. One, he'd be a fantastic model to paint up. 2, just so many great comic series with him year after year, from Carnage USA, Maximum Carnage, the list can go on and on. But also there's that slight chance that he would pair wonderfully with Agent Venom in a pack. Although more likely it's going to be him and Black Cat, since both of them are the only characters we have seen in Team Tactic card art, but have not actually seen models yet for the game. All that being said, I think he would make a fantastic character, maybe throw in a regeneration factor or something like that for Cletus, as he's able to run through the board, causing, well, carnage. Coming in at my number 2 spot, I have the Brotherhood of Mutants. It's hard to pick just 2, but I think the easy 2 to go with are going to be Magneto and Mystique, the dynamic duo of the evil Brotherhood. However, there's just so many iconic villains headlining the Brotherhood, from Juggernaut to Emma Frost, Pyro, Toad. The list can go on and on. But ultimately, I think around the same time we see the X-Men enter, there's no doubt we'll get to see the Brotherhood of Mutants enter as well. I saved the best for last. The number 1 villain I'd love to see in this game is Doctor Doom. There are several different reasons, both from the fact that he'll have everything from energy attacks to the mystical attacks, but also just the lore behind the character is so great. He traveled back in time to learn magic from Morgan Le Fay, which meant that he time traveled using science, so he's already brilliant, and just such a fantastic character. I can see so many fun abilities about him either just not playing well with other characters. His introduction would probably mean that we also get the Fantastic Four. There's just so many different ways to go about it, but at the end of the day, I would love to have the ruler of Latveria also take over this game. So, those are my top 10 villains I'd love to see enter the game. I had plenty of people comment and suggest who they'd love to see as a top 10 hero, so go ahead and throw down your villains as well. I'd love to see what evil masterminds you want to have thrown into the game. And I'll admit, it was a little bit harder to think of villains I'd like to see over the heroes, because, well, there seems to just be so many more iconic heroes than iconic villains that'll get tossed away after a couple of issues. All that being said, guys, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button. Lets me know that I'm doing what you guys are enjoying watching. And as always, keep on gaming.